Kali ini saya ada tamu juga lagi dari Edinburgh Napier University. Beliau adalah kepala untuk International Office, di mana mereka yang memberikan banyak informasi kepada mahasiswa-mahasiswa internasional termasuk dari Indonesia. Stuart, thank you for having us.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you for chatting to me.
No, it's nice. So, tell us a bit about Edinburgh Napier in a short sentence.
Yeah, absolutely. So Edinburgh Napier University is a really exciting place to come and study. It's situated in a thriving city, so Edinburgh is a great city for students to come and live. But more than that, the university is founded on the employability focus. So all of our courses have the opportunity for students to gain relevant industrial skills, and we have great outcomes for students looking to get jobs in the future. So it's a great place to live, it's a great place to study.
We've always heard that Edinburgh is one of the most beautiful cities. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. So myself, I'm from Cambridge in England originally. I moved to Edinburgh more than almost 20 years ago to study my master's degree, and I have never left because it's the most beautiful city in the world, such a fantastic quality of life and a great place to live and study.
Okay, right. If we are talking about Edinburgh Napier University, any history that you can share a bit about the university itself? Yeah,
absolutely. So the university itself is one of the group of universities in the UK from 1992 that has a history as a technical college, providing that industrial technical education, college education for students looking to go into the workplace. But actually the really important bit of history that is really interesting is in our name, Edinburgh Napier University, based on the name of John Napier, who lived around 400 years ago. His home is still part of our campus estate. And actually what's really interesting now, his work 400 years ago was in mathematics, in logarithms, but it's not old work, it's actually very current. Many of you, maybe your parents went to school or using logarithms in your school days, but actually now logarithms are so important in the work in cybersecurity. So it's not just all old-fashioned mathematics, it's very current, very important in the work that's going into the cybersecurity, protecting all of us and our data and our work.
Napier Tower.
That's exactly it. So Napier Tower is that really old 400-year-old building on our campus that was that John Napier's home.
So that is part of the campus as well now, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. The top of the tower is where the Dean of our School of Computing has his office. Yeah, it's all part of our campus in the city centre of Edinburgh.
And then if we are talking about, you mentioned about the employability for most students who are graduate. May I say that all the program is more practical for someone who is ready to...
Exactly that. So we have what we would call our sort of gold standard curriculum at the university that requires, as you would expect, fantastic teaching. It requires some kind of global outlook to make sure that we are focusing not just on what happens in Edinburgh and Scotland, but the course includes case studies from around the world. But the third pillar of that is the employability, the practical nature of the course. If you're coming to study journalism or film production, you will get access to the real journalism facilities, the film studios, the mixing desks and everything like that. And that extends through every single course that we teach at the university.
I see. We are aware that there is a lot of students coming in from India. There's a lot of students coming in from Pakistan, as well as other countries in Europe. The numbers of Indonesian students is still growing at the moment. Do you see that it is more the students coming from Indonesia, what I meant was that coming more for postgraduate or undergraduate?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we have had quite a strong growth in international students over the last few years, and the UK is becoming a really popular destination for students from around the world for a variety of reasons, and I can see why, having lived and studied there myself. What I would say to students from Indonesia really is there's opportunities at the undergraduate and the postgraduate level. the postgraduate opportunity is fantastic in the UK because it is generally a one-year master's degree, which allows you to sort of fast-track that experience compared to some other countries. But it does also provide Edinburgh itself provides a great multicultural home to students. It's a capital city. Students come from around the world. So we do have students from over 100 countries in Edinburgh Napier University.
I see.
Yeah.
Right, so 100 countries, that will be, can you mention 5?
Yes.
Top 5.
Top 5 in this year, India, Nigeria, Pakistan, USA, China.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So coming soon, Indonesia will be in the top 5.
Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. We're seeing it's interesting patterns around changing global growth. So demographics plays a big part into this. Some countries with larger youth populations. I know Indonesia, there's a more younger people, a youth population. So we expect these sort of demographics to change the nature of the student population accordingly.
Yeah. Right. Again, let's talk about the city of Edinburgh. When students coming into the city, students arriving in Edinburgh, the feedback is always says that to go everywhere within the city is so easy for them. That's what makes the transportation cost is much lower compared to other cities. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. So Edinburgh itself, it's a capital city of Scotland, but it's much smaller than many capital cities you might be familiar with. You can drive from one side to the other in 30 minutes. There's really hardly any traffic, but really good public transportation, the buses and the trams. It is cheap to get around. You can pay one-off tickets. Actually, anyone under the age of 22 in Scotland can get a free travel pass.
I didn't get it.
Maybe you need to just show your passport to prove your age. But beyond that, lots of our students will just walk. It's really easy to walk around the city. They'll get a bicycle. It's such clean air as well. Really easy to cycle around from place to place.
Okay. You mentioned about Edinburgh is the capital city of Scotland. Is the statement correct if I say that accommodation cost will be pretty expensive as well?
So yeah, accommodation costs is the same accommodation costs for other big cities in the UK. So comparable with Manchester or Birmingham, Liverpool, Newcastle, it is still a much better value than London. Which is another good opportunity for students who want to get that capital city experience with people from all around the world, multiple universities in one city, great restaurants, great culture, but not having to have the same cost associated with that you would in London.
Right, so definitely it's not as expensive as London.
Exactly.
And they are still experiencing being in a capital city.
Yes.
Weather, would you like to comment anything about the weather in?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say the weather in the UK, I think, has its own reputation for maybe being a bit on the cooler side, a bit rainy and so on. But I guess what's great about the UK is, it's quite unpredictable. You can experience 4 seasons in one day. So maybe the rain, the snow, the sunshine.
But one thing, Edinburgh is not as wet as Manchester.
I was going to come on to this. This is a good point. Not many people know this. So in the UK, the reputation for rain is fine. It's probably a rainy country than some other countries around the world. Though the rain typically is on the west side of the country. That's from the sea, the Atlantic Sea. And on the east side, where Edinburgh is, there isn't much rain. And actually, Edinburgh has the same, this is an interesting statistic, Edinburgh has the same annual rainfall as New York and Rome.
So Edinburgh is having the same, the rainfall?
Annual rainfall.
Annual rainfall, compared to
New York and Rome in Italy.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
Interesting. So, okay, it's not that wet based on our experience visiting the city as well. It was Christmas. It was December. It wasn't as cold compared to other cities as well. It is still about the same, even compared to London.
That's right. And actually, people assume. I think there's quite a lot of maybe people hearing stories about Scotland is much colder or rainier than England, but actually the UK is quite a small country overall.
Yeah.
We've got a very similar weather system. To get from Edinburgh to London is only about 4 hours by train, so we're quite a small country overall. So if you see the weather forecast for London, it's very similar often in
It's
Edinburgh.
about the same.
Yeah.
One thing that I forgot to ask you actually, what is your role at the university? I'm supposed to ask this one in the first
beginning, yeah.
stage.
No, so my role, I'm head of all of our student recruitment activity. So I look after students who are coming from all around the world, as well as our local students. So yeah, that's my job, and I'm really interested in finding out all about students and places from all corners of the world.
I see. Anything you would like to share with any potential Indonesian students?
Yeah, absolutely. I think my main message for students from Indonesia would be that we really look forward to seeing you on our campus. We really value the contribution that our current Indonesian students make. They're fantastic students, bring great academics, great attitude to study, but also a great cultural diversity to our campus as well. And incredibly, some great food I've had from my Indonesian students too. So yeah, I look forward to welcoming more Indonesian students so I can have good lunch.
Well, before I forget, we had actually students coming in to study. I mean, everybody knows that Napier is more popular among the students who's thinking about creative studies, film, journalism, digital, media, whatever. But we actually have students studying currently PhD in transport.
Yes, yeah.
So transport studies is also one thing that you should consider when you're thinking about Edinburgh Napier University. They have a very good programs about transport. They have a very good programs about journalism, film, the computing, especially cybersecurity. As we all know, that one of the lectures at cybersecurity named Bill Buchanan. He's one of the so-called someone who is very expert in cybersecurity.
Yeah, absolutely. So Bill's been working in this area for a long time, very well-respected researcher. He's helped to support 4 spin-out companies, which are all providing that current market leader expertise in cybersecurity globally.
Right. Okay, thank you so much, Stuart.
No, you're very welcome. I can say some more about transport engineering if you want. Yeah,
if you could, please.
Absolutely. So you're right. So transport engineering is a really popular degree. We've just launched our new Transport Research Institute at the university. It's one of our key research strengths. So it's really full of people from all over the world who are trying to get better ideas to support their transport environment when they return to work in their home country. And one of the highlight projects at the moment is Edinburgh Napier is a world first project for a fully autonomous electric bus system. So you hear about Tesla automatic driverless cars in the USA. We are testing now a driverless bus system on the roads of Scotland, fully electric, fully driverless.
Without driver?
Without driver.
Are you serious about this?
Yes, yeah.
Let's try.
Yeah.
Next visits we're going to
Absolutely.
try.
You're welcome to try. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Stuart.
Okay, you're very welcome. Thank you, Hendra.
Demikian sedikit bincang-bincang kami dengan Stuart dari Edinburgh Napier University. Sampai jumpa di video kami selanjutnya.